For the sports lovers out there who like to get their gamble on, whether it be on the NBA games, NFL, Major League Soccer, even National Hockey League, Major League Baseball, even college sports, go to betus.com to make that bet. If you use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times, you get up to 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500. Another perk you can see, you can bet on the go, which means you can bet anytime, anywhere on your mobile device. You get fast payouts, so you can get your payouts immediately every single time. Do not have to wait. And you can do live betting when you can bet during the game, whether it's early or the best lines, you can do it all. So anyway, please sign up for betus.com. Use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times. You'll be able to do so, right? Check out betus.com, where the game begins. Welcome to tonight's college football edition of the Klown Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. I had a brain fart for a minute. Please check me out on the Klown Times. That's right here, www.theklowntimes.net. I promise you I will update the blog. It's been a while. I've been busy with life, work, all that good stuff. But I actually have an idea for a blog post tonight. So look for it real soon. So anyway, just check me out there, as well as Facebook. So whether you're smartphone, laptop, desktop, wherever you are, wherever you may be, you'll find me there as well. Just type in the Klown Times in the search bar, you get to me. And a couple more things. Speaking of the hat, please get the merch at CapitPress.com. Search for the Klown Times Sports. You find it there. I actually have the link in the description once I upload this to YouTube, so you find it there as well. And last but not least, please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm over 500 subscribers, so that's a pretty big deal. And I'm halfway towards my goal. Again, I celebrate the small victories, and I promise you, I put a post of gratefulness on YouTube and on Twitter. So anyway, just continue to look for it there. And speaking of Twitter, you can find me at ClownTimes_1906. Even though I had Twitter for years, this is my first time remembering to actually mention my Twitter handle. So anyways, you can follow me at ClownTimes_1906. You find it there as well. So speaking of college football, we're going to get back to previewing the HBCU conferences, HBCU football, I should say. So we've already done the SWAC, we've done the MEAC, we've done the CIAA. Now we're left with the SIAC or SIAC, depending on where you're from. So to break all that down, we're going to have my man back. Y'all know him. Y'all know him well. From the Yard/HBCU Sports Reps about all things HBCU Sports. To a sleazy video every Tuesday now on Facebook Live. And last but not least, his good work on herosports.com for all things FCS athletics as it pertains to HBCUs. The one, the only, Dwayne Nash is back in the house. How you doing, brother?
Scott, what's going on with you? I had to turn my hat around so that people can see my lazy eyes right now. I've been going necessarily not through it, but it's a little humid here, a little tepid, a little warm here in DC.
You know what? There's a big ass brainstorm that came through because it's never going to get southern hot, right? But it does get humid here. And I guess maybe me being here and out of the South too long, maybe kind of soft. So, everything is relative, but still. I think you guys going to get the same brainstorm as we got. It's a matter of
we most definitely got it. We got it actually about an hour or two ago.
Oh, okay, cool. So that should yield you some cooler weather.
Yeah.
Right? So if we got cooler weather today, even though it's still a bit on the humid side, it's a hell of a lot cooler. It's going to be cooler for the next few days, I think. So.
Yeah, that's what the reports are saying here in terms of the temperatures dropping below 90 for the next week or so. So that's going to be wonderful here in August because normally it gets ridiculous, which it has been for the past few weeks. But I'm thankful for the storm. And I'm anticipating it being below 90 over the next few weeks. But Scott, I have to ask, because you said we did the MEAC preview.
We did not do the MEAC. I just realized as soon as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, But we
It's
will
like,
do the
okay,
MEAC soon. We'll do the MEAC sooner rather than later. I promise y'all. We will still do that because that's the main big hold as far as conferences. But we haven't gotten to individual teams and non-HBCU conferences, which is coming as well. So
yeah.
stay tuned.
But ironically enough, today has been filled with MEAC news today. The South Carolina State athletics director was actually fired. I'm sorry, he was relieved of his duties as of last night.
Had to clean it up.
I want to go ahead and clean that up. He was relieved of his duties last night. And then earlier today, the MEAC released their wow, how am I going to nicely say this? They actually released their plans for the future, for the upcoming future. I guess let me make sure I get the proper terminology
I
that they
think I
use.
saw a link to that. I didn't read the whole story because I was going to digest that a little bit later on, but I saw that.
This is the ironic part. Now that I'm looking at it again, so yeah, they refer to it as their 5-year strategic and long-range plan. The funny part is there's no plan or any timeline within this strategic plan that they've released. So my questioning is, well, one, why was it released if there's no legitimate strategic plan in said plan? And then two, why did you wait well over a week or two after your media day to release this plan? My guess is that there's been a little conversation or there's been some rumblings based upon what the direction of the MEAC over the past few weeks since the media day, and they decided to go ahead and come out and say something about it. My stance on that is, though, but you didn't say anything. So what was the point? You really would have been better off just saying absolutely nothing and coming up with an actual plan to address the issues in which your fan base and probably your presidents and chancellors and board of trustees from your member institutions are actually asking. But my thing is, my hope is that they have a more elaborate plan laid out for them while we got this. But my thing is, I'm going to need for the MEAC to completely understand that the fan base has now gotten a little bit more educated, and they're looking for a lot more details now as it pertains to the information that you release. So if you're going to say that you're coming out with a plan, we want to know what said the plan is. We want some sort of details. And you said it's a 5-year plan. What the plan though? So yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. I actually spoke to Scotty of All Scripts earlier today about this plan that they released. But yeah, my thing is, and I'm gonna keep this succinct. No, actually, because we're going to talk about it a little bit later, because you kind of brought it up. The instability within collegiate sports is actually carried over to a lot of the decisions that not only the SWAC commissioner, but the MEAC commissioner has made about their current future. And we'll discuss it a little bit later on too.
Yes. So I know people like look for SAG. It's like, why the fuck are y'all talking about the MEAC? Because it's news. It's news.
But it's going to touch on what some of the stuff that you said you wanted to discuss a little bit later on too, as it pertains to the SIAC and the expansion of Division I athletics.
There you go. So without further ado, let's get to it. Before we get to the fun part, the fun Game of Thrones / risk realignment style, let's get to this. Just talk about media days first at the SIAC. So you chronicled it. You know all about this. You're real close to this. So given how the SIAC did last year, the state of the SIAC, how would you assess it, and how would you describe the vibe of the SIAC media days?
The SIAC media day, you got to remember, one, it's Division II conference, so they're not necessarily going all out. If anything, what they're really looking to do is to tell their story and get their information out to the various media outlets that are there and that are watching from afar, like myself.
Yeah.
So they're not doing anything elaborate. They're just going ahead and they're talking to the various coaches, the various players that are the attendees that made it there, and moved on from there. But I will say this: it was very spirited. My man, the head coach over there, Benedict. I was ready to run through a brick wall just listening to him answer questions. I'm like, yo,
Uh-oh.
who is this dude? I
He's
actually
hype. He
had
was
some.
hype. He was
I
hype.
had some eligibility left. I mean, I don't think you want a over 45-year-old man trying to play for your team right now that hasn't
Mm-hmm.
done anything overly athletic in years. But you pump me up to play at least one quarter or at least one
Right.
series. How about
Right.
one
I'll
play?
give you one
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
It may not be my best, but I'll give you one play.
It'll be very Albert Hainsworth-esque with me doing a worm on the ground,
Oh,
and like, hey, do I still get my scholarship coach? But yeah, I digress.
that's so funny. so, so basically, you got to ski. We might as well just get to it. You're talking about the vibe. Obviously Division two, but still, there's the vibe is positive and everything else.
Almost definitely.
We're talking about the Game of Thrones earlier. Okay, that is conference realignment. We hinted last time we talked
Mm-hmm.
about the possibility of an HBCU super conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that word is that the SIAC teams in the SIAC may have caught the eyes or have caught the eyes of the folks at the SWAC, as at the big boy level, right? Division One FCS. So basically, I have my dream scenarios, right? So if you think in SWAC, you're thinking the Atlanta market, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
thinking brands too. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to me, and you know much more than I do, but I'm just going to just kick it off and just get your thoughts and just also tell me who else they're looking at, because I know they're looking at some folks. The brand being Tuskegee, right there in Alabama, right in the middle of SWAC country, proud alums, big alumni base, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're well known, and why not, right? And you got them, and you got some teams in the Atlanta market, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's Clark Atlanta, whatever. So basically, I know that you've been hearing some more stuff. So what is the SWAT talking to other schools in the SIAC? Because again, they're right the neighbors.
I'll say this. I had to cover my eyes because they were looking way too sleepy for the camera. Commissioner McClelland basically came out during the SWAC media day a few weeks ago and said this: they're not looking to expand.
Okay.
They have 12 wonderful members, and they basically did their expansion with the additions of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
And so they're not necessarily looking to add any more teams right now, and they most definitely aren't looking to do this merger with or adding on more teams from the MEAC. They're completely happy with the footprint that they currently have. They don't necessarily have to expand any further out than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's those are McClelland's words.
Okay.
Now, I actually had an opportunity to speak with Commissioner Sandra Stills over at the MEAC Media Day. And of course, conversation came up about a expansion with her as well. She let me know a couple of things. One, in terms of Division II programs moving up,
Right.
that's something that won't happen for the foreseeable future because there's currently a moratorium on Division II programs moving upward.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that must have happened after Lindenwood moved up to the OVC. But as of right now, I'm guessing that's currently the case. With that said, of course, the costs that are involved of moving up to Division One and a lot of Division II HBCUs just don't have the cash in order to do that right now. So that's something that also has to be talked about too. Something that we most definitely talked about on this show.
Right.
As in number 3, and this is the biggest one here, Scott, with so much uncertainty and so much movement that's going on currently on the FCS level. I'm sorry, on the FBS level. no one knows how things are going to pan out and where a lot of these FBS programs are going to finally end up. Because as we already know, they're going to come through Chiba Hawk style and end up going to other conferences or smaller conferences to purge members if they're without members or if members have decided to leave. And of course, that's been a thing where, big bank take little bank. And if you're a little bank, you're going to be searching to fill your holes as best you can. Right. So again, they're just trying to figure out exactly what this entire landscape is going to look like and what direction they're really going to have to go into in order to add additional members. Knowing this is another reason why I question the release of your strategic plan as of right now, because you already know and understand that the landscape of collegiate athletics is very unstable and you don't know what direction you're going to go into.
Yeah, MEAC, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, as the MEAC, why are you releasing said strategic plan? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. But it just seems to me that was just an attempt from the conference to kind of pacify the fan base by saying that, hey, we're thinking about this.
Gotcha.
They could have just said that. They didn't have to say it's a strategic plan, a long-term, whatever. Just say, we're most definitely looking into expansion, but as of right now, we currently understand how unstable the collegiate landscape is. Once everything calms down or we have an understanding of what's going on, we'll let you know what our plans are going to be. But a lot of people will look at us being reactionary instead of being proactive in terms of your membership as well. So that's probably a reason why you don't do that too. But you don't do what you did. So as of right now, to wrap this up, as of right now, there won't be any movement. The talks of the super. Matter of fact, that's something else that still is discussed as well at Media Day. Is that of course they're not looking to do any type of movement as it pertains to a super conference, because of course, what does that do for the teams that are going to be left out? And we can already take a look at the landscape of the two conferences and take a gander of who might be left out. It could be Mississippi Valley State. It could be Bethune-Cookman. Might be Delaware State. Who knows? But if you end up having a super conference, all teams can't come in. Right. Somebody's going to be left out and somebody's going to have to be forced to go to another conference. So Commissioner Steels is in the mindset of why not just continue to have two thriving Division I HBCU conferences instead of just one.
Gotcha.
And then of course, the healthy competition that is currently going on between the two. So why not continue to have that as well? So yeah, as of right now, from both commissioners, of both the MEAC and the SWAC, the concept of the super conference, which again I say was discussed, it has also been killed by both commissioners.
So basically, in other words, all that to say that members, the fans of the SIAC, should have nothing to fear but fear itself.
The only thing you need to fear is if your school is talking about moving up.
Gotcha.
And they actually are in discussions about getting the money together to improve your facilities, to increase the amount of scholarships that you currently have, to increase the amount of staff that you have within your athletics department. If they're doing that, forget if they say it or not, but if you notice those moves, you might want to start thinking about, they're looking to move up to D1.
So are there any schools right now in the SIAC that you're hearing that may be doing that, or it's just kind of quiet on that particular?
The only school that I've heard, and I know the people who are a lot closer to the SIAC have heard more than I have. The only school that has come out that has said anything in terms of their inquiry has been Tuskegee. For years, they've been doing this. Right. And they've been very slew-footed in terms of that move. So, yeah, I think they're being, you can call it calculated on this move. But, yeah, they're most definitely taking their time. I can't really think of anyone else as of right now in the SIAC or even in the CIAA as of right now that has outwardly said that they're looking to do that move.
And I'm thinking of follow-ups on the spot. excuse the interesting case.
Mhm.
Do you see just in your Nostradamus
Mhm.
from, if you will, in 5 years, let's call it 5 years, just call it even. In
Mhm.
5 years, do you see Tuskegee making that official move to FCS level?
That I don't know. It's all pending on, you know, what their athletics department's focus is.
Mm-hmm.
If their focus is winning national championships in all sports, then they're going to potentially stray away from moving up unless um either conference, the MEAC or the SWAC, is capable of getting out of this current Celebration Bowl deal that they currently have.
Right.
Because of course moving up eliminates that from happening within football. Um, until further notice, of course.
Right.
So yeah, those are things you have to think about. Are the fiscal issues, what they're looking to compete for, um, as a program, but and also what will the SWAC have to offer, not just Tuskegee, but any school that's looking to come over there. We've heard about the various issues as it pertains to their television their media rights deals, what direction they're going to go into with that. Um, but my guess is, with all of the attention that HBCU athletics is getting, especially Division One,
Yeah.
primarily the SWAC because of one Deion Sanders,
Sure.
um, this will be potentially a good time to at least and think about that more. But again, the whole landscape of collegiate athletics is something that you have to scratch your head to. And then the media rights deal, what is it going to be? It's still rumored of what it is. And then, I guess once everything gets finalized, um, that's when moves will be made. Well, that plus the moratorium being lifted. So, yeah, those are all things that most definitely have to be taken into consideration with Tuskegee. But to answer your question, God, I don't, with it 5 years, if it's within if it's going to happen in 5 years, that's if. I doubt it. But if it does, it's going to happen on the tail end of that five. So foreseeably between years 4 and 5. But I doubt very seriously that it happens.
Okay, fair enough. And last but not least, and this leads into this last segment here, talk about football
Hmm.
for the coming season. There are 11 football playing squads
Hmm.
in the SIAC. There are 13 total squads, period.
Yeah.
But there are 11 football playing squads. And this might put a ribbon, nice red ribbon on the realignment segment.
No, actually, no. 13 is just 11 qualify for postseason play.
Oh, okay. So they are okay. So those 13. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because Edward Waters. Yeah, they're new to the SIAC as well, new-ish to the
Yeah,
SIAC as well as what's the other one?
Allen.
Allen. Yes, Allen. Okay, cool. That's
But no,
right. So
you're right. I think there are 14 or 15 teams in the SIAC because Lemoyne Owen does
uh-huh.
not play football.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that just throws out my last question. I was going to ask you if they were going to possibly expand to even out the number of teams, but since there'll be 13 teams, it's still odd number of teams.
It
So,
is.
so I wonder if there's going to be plans maybe for a 4-team squad and just be cool after that, or
So looking at what I'm looking at right now,
Mhm.
my math says it looks like it's 18 to 16 teams in the SIAC currently right now. It's
Right.
just that 3 teams in the West don't play football.
Mhm.
So that's where the issue comes in. Now, let me go ahead because I know someone is probably watching this right now and it's like, D Nash, you can't count. No, they're 15. There are 15 teams in the conference. 2 of them within the East do not play football right now. Not
Gotcha.
the East, but the West. So yeah,
West.
15 programs, 2 in the West don't play.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Fair enough. All right. So speaking of football, let's just talk about it.
Hmm.
The 2022 SIAC season. I remember last year, was it Savannah State, Morehouse? No, I'm sorry. not a number of horse, but Albany State, Savannah State in the East did their
Mm-hmm.
things, as well as in the West. You had with Miles, Second State doing their thing. Refresh my memory who ended up winning it last year.
So Albany State won the Eastern Conference. Miles won the West.
Yeah.
And Albany State won the title.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Stopping Miles from three-peating.
Nice. So, as far as 2022 season, what give me that, just like we did the other ones. Give me who the media picked to win the SIAC division, like the East and West divisions and the whole thing, and give me yours if it's any different than what the media had it.
Okay, well, my predictions aren't any different than what the media or what the coaches have already voted on, but I will run through the predicted order of finish.
Yes.
And while I'm going through it, I'm also going to let you know where they finished within their respective divisions last year. Mm-hmm. So coming in at number 8, Allen. Now, I think they may have finished 8th within that division, but they didn't. They couldn't compete for a division title.
Right.
So, they came in at 8. Clark is coming in at 7th, even though they finished 6th last season. Edward Waters, who also can't compete for a conference title, they're predicting to finish 6th. Mm-hmm. Fort Valley State is predicted to finish 5th. They finished 5th last season. Morehouse is predicted to finish 4th. They finished 3rd. Savannah State, who finished 2nd last year, is predicted to finish 3rd, which means, of course, there's a big jump. And that jump would be one Benedict, who finished 5th last year, is predicted to finish 2nd.
Wow.
And then Albany State, who won the division, they're predicting to repeat as division champions again this year.
Right.
Now, in the SIAC West, there's one drop-off, and that will be Kentucky State, who you talked about finishing in 2nd. I'll get to them in just a moment. Central State, who finished 5th last year, is predicted to finish 5th again. Kentucky State, like I said, who finished 2nd last year, is predicted to finish 4th.
Wow.
Tuskegee, who finished 4th, is looking to finish 3rd. But they're predicted to finish 3rd. Lane, who finished 3rd, is picked to finish 2nd. And Miles is predicted to repeat as division champions again.
So it's going to be like this Albany State Miles rivalry that's going to dominate the SIAC for a while. You think?
Oh, it's most definitely dominated the SIAC for some time over the past 4 to 5. Actually, I want to say they were most definitely the participants in the last 3 championship games. Mm-hmm. And I also want to say that Miles and Albany State were in the title games the 2 year prior, if my memory serves me correctly. But coming into this year, Albany State has the most preseason all-conference selections coming into the year at 13. But, Miles is going to have a tough run of it this upcoming year, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Okay. And last but not least, I meant to ask you this earlier. Mm-hmm. Broadcasting rights. So, we've been talking about the financial health of all these HBCU conferences, right? Mm-hmm. We'll definitely get to do the MEAC next week. How's the SIAC? Because we talked about how the CFWA, how they've been successful with their media rights, with their broadcasting the games. What do the SIAC have any contracts out there of any major media or any media outlet at all? Or
yes, I mean they still have their agreement with ESPN and with Aspire, and I need to check one more time to make sure whether or not they do have their own digital network where they broadcast their games. Now they do have a digital network where they broadcasted their media day. I'm wondering whether or not they use that same platform to broadcast games that aren't coming on ESPN or Aspire. Because if so, that would be wonderful.
Okay. And actually, before we wrap this up, I got a couple more questions. I give a shout out to my sponsors here, betus.com, right quick. So basically, it goes like this. Listen up, sports bettors. Your favorite sports book, betus.com, is back for our 20th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, and MLB. If you're looking for live in-game betting, credible odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, got it. How about fast pals and exceptional one-on-one customer service? We've got that too. So log into betus.com or call 1-800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. And also you could use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times to get those special discounts. So betus.com where the game begins. All right. So you said you have more info on some of the teams in the SIAC that pertains to this season. So you can go ahead and use this time to share those if you don't mind.
All right.
Some knowledge.
Yeah, so here's some things that you might want to take keep an eye out for. These things that I consider to be major headlines for the SIAC this upcoming season. First and foremost, how will the new head coaches within the SIAC fare this upcoming season? They're actually, like we said before, they're what? Do the math again. 13 teams in the conference.
Right.
There's 6 new head coaches.
Okay.
So almost half of the conference has a new head coach, starting with a name you may or may not remember, Kevin Porter, who actually spent this time in the NFL from 1988 to about 1993.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with the Chiefs and the Jets.
Yeah.
He's the new head man over there at Central State.
Right.
Sean Gibbs, who was a well-known and well-liked assistant over at North Carolina A&T, is now the new head man down at Fort Valley State.
Okay.
Willie Slater, who is a SIAC lifer and also was a head coach over at Tuskegee, well-known head coach over at Tuskegee, won several titles over there, is now the new head man over at Clark Atlanta. Another name you most definitely know, Sam Shade.
Yes. Okay.
The former DB out of Alabama, drafted by Cincinnati, spent some time here in DC. I would like to call him the Klown Times head coach because of the connections there. He's now the new head man down at Miles College. This one's interesting. Ramon Johnson, who is currently the athletics director down at Kentucky State, is also the interim head coach because that head coaching vacancy has not been filled as of yet.
Really? How the hell does that happen? And the football season, still no head coach?
No head coach.
That's not the recipe of dysfunction, isn't it?
Yeah, which is probably part of the reason why they're looking for K-State to finish 4th in their division.
Okay.
So you got that. And then last but not least, most definitely not least, another SIAC lifer, Reginald Ruffin, who spent a lot of time over at Miles, is now the new head coach at Tuskegee. But the interesting thing about that is he's basically pulling a Jay-Z. It's a grand opening, grand closing. A one and done at Tuskegee. Not only is this his first year at Tuskegee, it will also be his last as the head coach there in Alabama. The reason why that's the case, though, Scott, I see you with the gas face over there.
Yeah.
He's doing that because he is also the athletics director. So he wants to go ahead and focus all of his time as a director. And at the end of the season, he will most definitely relinquish that and hire a new head coach while he focuses on being the athletics director down in Tuskegee.
So was he back up a little bit. First of all, for those who may be looking at Klown smaller schools who are having a head coach in a particular major sport who also doubles as an athletics director. It's happened in the FBS. It's happened in the Power 5 before. Anyone remembers knows ACC basketball remembers the name Les Robertson. He was the coach of my beloved Wolfpack, but I was a student there in the mid-90s. He was also the athletics director there.
Yeah.
So it has been done on the highest levels of college collegiate sports. So there's a case we were looking at Klown, not only small schools, but particularly small HBCUs. Even though I gave that that comment about Kentucky State, that's just dysfunction. That's not anything else but dysfunction. But getting back to Tuskegee, so this brother here who's coaching and at the athletics, what he says one and done. So this is his first year. Is this his first year at Tuskegee?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, where he spent the most of his time at Miles College. Gotcha.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, so now he's going. Okay, so this year he'll coach. Then next year he'll give that up. And okay, I got you. Why he's
Yeah.
still be an athletics director? Okay, cool. All right. So one last. I thought I had another question. Okay. Yeah, I do. For
Okay.
those, okay, people already know about, we mentioned, we talked about brands earlier, like, and us doing our SWAC podcast, people know there's so many big brands at the SWAC, they know about rivalries, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know about Grambling Southern, they know about Jackson State Alcorn, Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State to a lesser extent, Alabama A&M, Alabama State. People know about those rivalries. In the SIAC,
Mm-hmm.
what rivalries can you share? Like rivalries that people should look out for because it's where since like Black collegiate sports, particularly on the football level, are resurging, having seen a resurgence in popularity the last 3 or 4 years. People are starting to learn more about these. So, what are the rivalries that people should look for in SWAC football? We won't talk about SWAC in general. I mean, not SWAC. I mean, SIAC football that folks should be on the lookout for who they don't know. Folks don't really know about.
Well, I mean, of course, the inter-conference rivalry of, more so recent rivalry of Albany State and Miles, because of course those have been the two teams that have really been competing for conference championships over the past few years. Then, of course, you got Clark and Morehouse because they're both neighboring schools in Atlanta. This new one, which is going to be very interesting. I'm waiting to see how the Savannah State, and Albany State rivalry starts to develop. Actually, with Fort Riley State as well, being that they're all neighbors right there in Georgia. So you start talking about a lot of these regional rivalries. But the biggest one with Miles and Tuskegee, of course, within the conference, Kentucky State and Central State, being in the neighboring states. But the one that's not within the conference that everyone should know about, if you don't, one of my favorite rivalries within HBCU football is Tuskegee and Alabama State, especially because of the oh my God, what year was that? Was that 2018, 2019? Okay. The smack talk on social media alone between the two schools was to a point where I had to screenshot and save it for my future reference because of how entertaining it was alone. They were making videos against one another. They were taking shots at the validity of their logos, saying, "Oh my God, you ain't nothing but an old Auburn University logo with a different color scheme." and the fact that Tuskegee was actually leading the matchup between those two schools, and Tuskegee's D2, Alabama State's D1. So the fact that Tuskegee was dominating in that rivalry for a long period of time has made that rivalry so interesting. So that's one of the more interesting rivalries within that conference. But everything, just like other conferences, are most definitely regional. So yeah, everybody that's close to one another is most definitely going to be a rival within that conference.
Tuskegee and Alabama State. I have no damn clue.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my guess is that Allen and Benedict will probably be the next rivalry once Allen starts to get they head together and get themselves a little bit better within the conference play too.
So basically, I'm just thinking about this. How close are you probably mentioned this because like I what you told me to do, I waved that I was waving at my son, he's about to go to bed. You didn't know I was on the podcast. But so I may have lost this may have been lost in translation of my end. So how close are Tuskegee and Alabama State in terms of like mileage?
Off the top of my head, that I don't know, but it has to be close. Right. And it most definitely is a game that's not missed between the two programs. They most definitely let it be known about that rivalry and the fact, especially now, Alabama State has most definitely been getting the better end of that rivalry now.
Right.
But Tuskegee let them know that we owned y'all for a long time now. Don't forget.
So when was so they used to play the game every year, football game every year, or do they
They
still play every year?
well, they did play it every year. Yeah, it's like maybe
They
like a year or
do.
two where they skipped it. But
Okay.
the
Okay.
thing was, it used to be the Turkey Day Classic, then they moved it to the Labor Day Classic. And
Oh,
if
okay.
memory serves me, I think it's back at Labor Day again. I'm going to take a look at the schedule one more time
Gotcha.
to give you a full answer on that. But I know
Okay.
the SIAC fans are like, "Come on, T Nash, you're supposed to know that." Sorry about that. I don't remember the SIAC schedule off the top of my head. I'm
Hey,
not
the
even gonna lie
man's
to
covered
you.
all these HBCU conferences. Come some slack.
Please
Cut the
forgive
brother
me
some
for that
slack.
moment.
We're
But yeah.
he's bringing the message now. Come on.
Oh yeah. So,
Anyway.
but no, actually, no. Tuskegee has Miles at the end of the year, which
Okay.
I'll get to in just a moment. But yeah. So my guess is that they must play them earlier in the season.
All right. So let's close out on this. Miles and Tuskegee. Let's talk about it. You mentioned it has to be something important. So please educate us on the importance of that matchup.
Well, a couple of matchups or a couple of more things to go ahead and keep your eyes out on. Of course, is number one, with Albany State being predicted to not only win the division, but to also win it all again. Will they actually repeat? Two, is Benedict as good as they're predicted to be? They finished fifth last year within their division.
Right.
And they're only returning two players. Well, they only have two players that are currently on their preseason all-conference team. But one of them is the dynamic quarterback, Eric Phoenix, for Benedict, who had a phenomenal year last year, but he only was named to second team all SIAC behind Deontay Bonneau, who is the quarterback over there at Albany State. So, those are two great gunslingers within the conference. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when they play. And then number three, for those of you that know, you know what I'm about to say. Go ahead and cue up Black Sabbath's Iron Man, because we all know that's the theme music for the Road Warriors, because that's what you might as well go ahead and call Fort Valley State this upcoming season, dude. They playing 5 classics. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
5 classics. And
Is
none
that
of them are
popular?
at home. Yes, they must be very popular, but they playing 5 classics and only 2 home games this entire season. Only 2.
How does that work?
That's a wonderful question. When you play in 5 classics, that's how that happens.
Okay.
Especially when you have a new head coach coming in, and he's going to have to coach within those circumstances. So he's probably hoping and praying that the Fort Valley State faithful will be Road Warriors as well and travel along with this team and make their way out to games, because they only get 2 at the crib.
Wow.
They only get 2 at the crib. So, with all that said, here, games to watch within the SIAC this upcoming year. Albany State's tough October that they got coming up. They play, they actually have the rematch and potential SIAC championship rematch against Miles on October 1st. Then they play against division foes in consecutive weeks. Benedict on the 15th, Savannah State on the 22nd, and Morehouse on the 25th. Now, with Miles, like I just said, they end up facing a potential SIAC title game against Albany State on October 1st, and then another potential SIAC championship matchup against Benedict the following week. Then they go ahead and they finish up the season against Lane. I'm sorry, no, they got Lane. No, they got Lane on October 15th, and then they got wow, so that's all within October from Lanes too. Sheesh. So no. Yeah, they got Lane and K-State in back-to-back weeks at home in October. And then they finish up the season against Tuskegee. And like I said before, Reginald Ruffin, the head coach over at Tuskegee, who was also the head coach over at Miles, not only will that be the last game of the season for both teams, the regular season, I'm sorry, because I know both of these teams have aspirations for postseason play, but this will also be Ruffin's last home game. I'm sorry, this will be his return home, but his final home game of the regular season and as a head coach.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. All right, cool. Got all that to look forward to, and more
Yeah.
black college football to look forward to this year. So send a great shout out to Dwayne. Thank you very much, man. And please continue to check out his great work. See on the backdrop, the yard, hbcu.com, where it's about all things HBCU sports, as well as Sleazy Radio, Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. I forgot about that, and YouTube. So check them out there. And last but not least, herosports.com, where it's about all things FCS athletics as they pertain to HBCUs. Please check the brother out there. Those links will be in the description when we upload this to YouTube tomorrow. And
As a matter of fact,
Uh-huh.
real quick, I just did last week my previews for both the MEAC and SWAC seasons, and I will be I'm currently working on my top games to watch for the upcoming season, and then of course my top 25 games of the year too. So look out for those in the near future.
Okay, cool. So check that out too. So basically those links will be in the description. So hopefully you guys will continue to check that out. So you have no excuse for missing this great work. No excuses. And right quick, man, another shout out to my sponsor, BetUS.com, sports bettors. A very quick blog here. Fair Sportsbook, BetUS.com. It's about for our 20th year of NFL action, live in-game betting, incredible odds, with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, fast pals, and exceptional one-on-one customer service. We got it all. So log into betus.com or call 1-800-792-3887. Remember, that's 800-79-BET-US. Use the TKT for the Klown Times promo code. So betus.com where the game begins. Please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Because I'll be glad you did. Dwayne will be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. So until next time, take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the hopefully good weather where you're at. If it's raining, please stay your ass inside. Peace out.